Hi, this is Mark Rosen from WCCO TV, and it's my pleasure to introduce my good friend Ron Henderson, the Fitness King, presenting Motivation, one word to help change your life.
Welcome to Motivation. I'm Ron Henderson, aka the Fitness King. On today's Motivation, I will be traveling back in time with my next guest, Melody Mendis, as she shares her life and voice as a Barbra Streisand impersonator. And on that note, sing something for us.
Memories light the corners of my mind, misty watercolored memories of the way we were, scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we were.
Wow. Folks, and on that note,
thank you so much.
Barbra, welcome to Motivation.
Hello, gorgeous.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
You are fantastic.
I'm not used to all this rain. You're leaving my ranch in Malibu, but
You are fantastic. You know, growing up, my two favorite singers, even to this day, female singers, was Barbra Streisand and Diana Ross. And I remember when I used to get massages, and all the time I would always have that Barbra Streisand album on, her greatest hits, and I love her music. I love her. I always thought I found her to be attractive, by the way, Barbra Streisand. Something about her, her voice, her nose, all those things that people think would make people not like you, made me attracted to Barbra.
well, it's interesting because listening to interviews of Barbra, because I'm trying to be myself and I'm stuttering. She realizes now how beautiful she was.
Oh, yes.
But she lacked such confidence, and her mother was so hard on her and everything. But now their relationship is much better. But yeah, I mean, she's like, had I known then, you know.
Right. And before we get into that, let me ask you just a question. Was your mother hard on you growing up? You know, if you compare it to Barbra.
Okay, I see. So you're talking like comparing the tribute life as opposed to the...
Right.
No, I mean, she was a free spirit. I had a really creative household. So a lot of singing, playing piano, dancing around. I was a figure skater.
Okay.
One thing that I did learn was independence from an early age. And that's where I feel like a little bit in line with Barbra. We were very independent for different reasons.
Right.
But I feel like, you know, I can take a risk and impersonate Barbra, and sure, it's scary, but I just have to be free and go for it.
Right.
And just let it go.
Yes, and you do a fantastic job. On every Motivation, I do this. My audience expects it. They expect it for me to just throw those questions at people randomly.
Okay.
Is there something in your life that most people don't know? Maybe your parents don't know, and a lot of your fans, I know you have a huge fan base, that maybe they don't know that you don't mind sharing. See, I bring it on people on Motivation, by the way.
I know. Well, I'm motivated to answer your question.
Okay, Barbra. Okay, Barbra.
Well, let's see. Do you want it as Barbra or as Melody?
Give it to me as Barbra.
Let's see. Well, when I did my Central Park concert, and it is documented, however, I forgot the lyrics to one of my songs. And that really was a big part of how my stage fright was created.
Wow.
Yeah, it just terrified me.
And most people don't know that.
Some people, the real Barbra fans do know,
Barbra
but
fans.
not everyone knows that.
Okay, so when did you what age were you when you realized that you had even a talent, before we get into Barbra, when you realized that you had a melody, that you had a talent to even sing? What age was that?
I was born to sing.
You were born to sing?
I've been singing since I
Born to be wondered. Come on.
I just remember when I was really young, my mom bringing home the Guilty album, and I would just imitate Barbra. But at the time, I was also imitating Ella Fitzgerald.
Okay.
I was imitating the Magic Flute by Mozart. We lived in Detroit and had this beautiful home with a foyer, and I would just go in there and just sing. It was like the ultimate bathroom.
Right.
So I would just imitate all these voices and people, and I thought...
And how old were you when you were doing Ella Fitzgerald?
I was probably 6.
Can you still do her now? Any Ella Fitzgerald?
Yeah, gosh, I haven't
We're
in a
here
while.
for Barbra, but
Yeah.
give me one thing from Ella.
Let's see. And I can't imitate her anymore.
Right.
Let me think about this. Oh, wow, what a different brain to put on. This is the process in motion.
Yes.
Let's see. I hear music, mighty fine music. I hear music, I mighty fine music. And anytime I think my world is wrong, I get me out of bed and sing this song. Sure, there's music, mighty fine music.
That's good. And you were doing that at what age?
Like 6 or something like that.
As my friends would say from Spain, fantastico, stupendo. Very, very good. Very, very good. I applaud that. I mean, it's something, and we talked about this a little earlier. I've always wanted to do actually what you're doing, and so when I was watching some things on Facebook, and I saw you, and I said, I got to get a hold of you. And then I was thinking, how can I get her to come on my show? And I didn't send you clips. I did a couple stars from a movie that just came out. This guy's been on Law and Order and all this other stuff. And I thought, maybe I'll send you a clip of that, and you'll be interested in it. Well, entice you to coming on my show, because I thought it was wonderful. And then you agreed to come on, and I thought, how cool is this? I got Barbra Streisand on Motivation, folks.
I have to tell you, with the right wig, makeup, and illusion, you could probably be like a Neil Diamond or a Chris Christopherson.
Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know about Chris Christopherson.
You'd be amazed. I did that, I was telling you a little bit earlier, I did the Orlando tribute conference of impersonators, and it was just blew my mind, because I did find a dead ringer to Chris Christopherson. And I took a bunch of pictures. They're on my Facebook and my website, so you'll have to see that, because it is mind-blowing. Like, he doesn't need makeup and a wig. He just shows up and you're like, ugh. So it was really fun, because for our red carpet, we were kind of, I kept just going, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I know he's now my friend named Wally, but, and, you know, in character, I was like, it's Chris, you know. So I had him walk down with me on the red carpet, and then we were able to get on TV. It was like a no-brainer.
Very smart.
I know, it was so funny.
Does he talk like Chris
Yes, a little bit. I should send, I will make sure to post that clip on my website, Melody as Barbara, because you'll hear him, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I have to hear him sing. He's in Chicago, and I'd love to have him on one of my shows in Milwaukee, which isn't too far.
I'm sure.
It would kind of blow people's minds, really.
I'm sure. And what's your Facebook, what are your account names, like your website and Facebook? What are
website, www.melodyasbarbara.com. And then the Facebook, Melody Mendis Music. But if you did Melody as Barbara, you'll still find me.
Okay. So how old were you when you first performed, professionally speaking? As Barbara? As Barbara.
You know, it's only been a little over a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's even more amazing.
It's more amazing. And
I got to ask you, how do you do this? And I had pages, folks. See, folks, I had pages of things to ask her, but we're just doing this. We're winging this, because, sister, you got some talent. We're winging it, folks. We're winging it. That's right.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
So how did this all start?
Well, let's see. Rico, who owns Boogie Wonderland, kind of took me aside a couple of years ago. It's taken me a process to actually get her out, and so he was like, you know, you could really do like a 70s Barbra Streisand. And I'm like, oh, you know, I thought about it, and he kind of, we were actually talking very seriously about it, and then I shelved it for a minute, because I was like, whoa, I don't know, such big shoes, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of, you know, got me a little worked up, and then I realized, I'm like, well, after a couple of years of really studying and going through her interviews and actually opening my mouth, and I'm like, you know, Melody, like, you can do this. You have to do this. You have to give this gift to people, because Barbara isn't always going to perform at Bryant Lake Bowl, like, ever. She's not going to maybe be at Nicollet Island Inn, and, you know, which I love, and I love these places, but to bring it on a local level into different communities, it's not going to happen. And not for, like, I don't know, way less, you know, or I can give people a taste of that experience and have them the music brings back their own memories with me, and I can just give that gift and have that beautiful exchange. I mean, like, there's nothing like it in the world to me.
I love it. Have you thought about doing a Christmas holiday special?
I do.
Because I think that'd be awesome.
I do a Christmas one.
Oh, really?
I do.
Okay.
I do both Christmas albums. And so actually
Okay.
Nicollet Island Inn, I'll be there in December doing
Okay.
the Christmas show. It is spectacular.
Do you have a date on that too already?
I do. It's right on my calendar.
Okay, go to
So-
her calendar. See, and
We
here
just- we
here
just
I'm
signed the
thinking-
contract.
I'm thinking I'm motivating this lady. I'm motivating Barbara. Barbara's already ahead of the game.
Well, as Melody,
Folks, goodbye. We'll see you later.
as Melody, I'm kind of like a three-ring circus. Well, because you know, when you own
Sure.
your own business,
Oh, yes.
I mean, I have my director, Keith Russell, who helps me write, who's fantastic, and he takes my ideas where I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, try it like this. Let's add this
Right,
dialogue.
right.
Because my shows are more like cabaret and they're scripted, but they really come alive when I'm also improvising. But as Melody, sometimes too much of my personality comes out,
Right.
and then Barbara gets a little pushed to the side. So I have to make sure I try to stay on script.
Kind of balance
It's
that
fun,
out.
balance, but it's
Right.
really fun because I think people who are there to support me as well.
Right.
And I am so grateful.
So you write and produce most of your stuff that you're doing.
With Keith. Keith
Okay.
does a lot of the writing, and then I kind of, try to back everything and perform it. So.
Now, I know that the Star and Tribune interviewed you, okay? And I don't like to repeat things, so tell me some things that you didn't tell the Star and Tribune.
Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting
See,
because
this is tell all on motivation.
yeah.
I hear it all.
Yeah, we actually didn't have a formal interview. They showed up at one of
Okay.
my Fringe shows.
Okay.
See, Fringe is what really launched Barbara, and I love Fringe for that because you hear stories like, oh, this person had a concept and then tried it at Fringe and then it
Right.
just blew up because that's a great forum.
Never heard of
to
it. Where is
try-
that?
It's the Fringe Festival. It's a week-long theater festival all over Minneapolis.
Okay.
And I mean, if you saw the roster of spaces, it is amazing. So.
Wow.
Yeah, and so you can buy a Fringe pass and see as many shows as you want, or see individual shows, and
Okay.
and so I for Fringe, it's so crazy. I got in a lottery because that's how you get in. It's not by
Okay.
audition; it's by lottery.
Okay.
I was the second to the last person. I was like 272. It's
Is that a better feeling because you could get your nerves worked up?
well, I don't know. I actually I kind of had a show, and
Okay.
really loosely, kind of sort of had a show. And it was so funny because I remember being at work and I got an email like a spot opened up, and I literally went to the bathroom at my job. Like I escaped and was like calling. I'm like, I can do it. And it was like 3 weeks before, and I got in Fringe. And then I called my director. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in Fringe. Wait, I need 45 minutes of music, and it's like, I don't know,
Wow.
5 or 6 shows. Okay, all in 1 week. What are we gonna do? So it was really fun. Then it's
Wow.
just like, but that's how we work.
Wow.
Like I have my Decades show coming up on the 29th and 30th
Okay.
of Bryant Lake Bowl. I had a show written before I went to Orlando, and I just got back. But after seeing all the showcases,
Right.
I gutted that show about 3 days ago, and I'm doing Barbara through the decades.
Okay.
And I mean, that's how we work. It is so fast, and so it's
It
always
changes.
a process, picking out what
Right.
people like, what people don't like, and so it's really a trip. I probably have like 6 different shows, but now I feel like I'm embarking on the Swan show. Like this is the show.
Okay. And the Fringe, what are 2 numbers that you did there?
I did Papa, Can You Hear Me?
Right.
It was the movie show, so I did The
Okay.
Way We Were,
Okay.
Dental.
Can you give us a little Papa? Can you hear me?
Let's see. God, oh Heavenly Father, and God, and my own Father, who is also in heaven, may the light of this flickering candle illuminate the night the way your spirit illuminates my soul. Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you see me? Papa, can you find me in the night? Papa, are you near me? Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you help me not be frightened? Looking at the skies, I seem to see a million eyes. Which ones are yours? Where are you now that yesterday has waved goodbye and closed its door?
I gotta stop you. I'm gonna cry.
Really?
I used to watch that.
my gosh.
I watched that movie and it would tear me up because the voice and the way she sings it, and you nail it.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to just I wanted to sing with you at the time.
Yeah, no, please sing anytime.
You nailed it. You nailed it. And something. See, those when people sing and they reach up there like it, it's like watching Phantom of the Opera, and I hear some of those songs,
Yeah.
and it makes me just want to like, boom, sing with them and kind of cheer up because I'm just fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Fascinated because, like I said, you're living the dream that I wanted to do. And I had a voice instructor, but that person got sick. And after a month, I'm very, how can I say it? I'm into time management. So I schedule things and I will always show up for my appointment. You miss 4 or 5 appointments where you're not there for me. I got out of it, so I stopped doing it because I have to be in the habit of doing it. And if you want to get good at what you do, you have to have lessons to really go to get better than where you are. You
I'm
agree?
a voice teacher.
And you teach as well.
I can teach you. We should set up an appointment now. Okay, everyone, get your calendars out.
Okay, you heard her. Okay, so if I say, Papa, can you hear me? Papa, do you feel me? I don't know the words. So next time you hear me on Motivation, I better sound better, right?
Yeah, and I would be like, that's a really great starting point. You have a beautiful voice, you know, just opening up and supporting more and getting the sound up and over.
Right. Well, thank you.
Well, here's the real, I'm telling you, as from a lesson standpoint, this room is really great. I mean, you can't see the entire room here. But to have a wall in front of you and a wall behind you and sing is really great because you can get that feedback on your sound.
You get the echo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what was, let me ask you this, how much and what was the preparation involved in when you did after the Fringe, your next show?
Ooh.
Is it like hours and hours and hours?
It's always, and I feel like it never ends, which is great. I'm finding, I'm always looking to interview Barbra. She's very soft-spoken, even though she has this reputation of being like, you know, a control freak. It's all like negative press for her, I believe, because of everything that I've researched. But I feel like if I get a little nervous when I don't have a lot of shows back to back, because I feel like I don't want to get pulled out of Barbra, but I'm always looking at interviews and YouTube and videotaping myself. And when I was in Orlando doing my showcase, I saw the videotape and I was like, oh, I gotta fix that. As artists, we're
that's
always
what you do.
like,
I'm always doing that. Oh,
you know, and it's just like, it's a never-ending process. I hope it never ends.
Yes.
So I feel like when it ends, or when you think you've accomplished something or whatever, in my mind, it's like you're like way off the track. Like somehow your train has derailed, and you don't even realize it. Like you always have to be critical and kind and patient with yourself.
But see, I think it's important. I remember the first time that I had a speaking gig where it was over $5,000. And I remember how I felt when I left there and I was signing autographs and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that was a corporation. Then I remember being in Ethiopia and I was preaching there, because I'm a minister as well, preaching to over 5,000 people, and I said, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Then I realized my gift is speaking into people's lives, and I went through the videotapes afterwards, and I'm always, the preaching part, I don't critique that because I prepare by fasting and things, but the corporation, I go through it and I look and I go, okay, how was that? And I look at it, and I am critical of myself because it's always about trying to improve and give people more. And what you do for me is, how can I say it? It makes me say even right now publicly that you will come back on. Hopefully you'll come back on Motivation.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to have you on again. I love to be there to support what you're doing because you're fantastic.
Well, I love supporting you from so many angles, to give artists like myself an opportunity to go out into the world and maybe get an audience that we can't reach. But I also, as Melody, personally support you because I'm a huge fan of fitness.
Thank you.
And I'm always like, pushing myself physically, and I understand the psychology it takes to be a trainer, because it's the same as being a musician and an artist, and to have that talent and to be so multi-pronged and strong in so many areas is highly impressive. I mean, we're just not the kind of people, and there's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5. Some people, well, they need the security of the check, but they need that. But I feel like we are like kind of like hunters as opposed to gatherers. And I really, when I see another hunter, I know this is probably getting in a weird place. I apologize. I'm so motivated by that. But we need all of it. We need each other.
I agree. I agree. And with that said, Question for you. Did you find any of the people that you thought that were your friends get to a point where maybe they were even a little envious or jealous of your success? Be honest with me on this one. Because people do.
I'm going to be really, really honest.
This is motivation, honesty.
I'm going to be dead honest. And this is where I don't see it.
Right.
Because I'm so in it.
Good for you.
And I'm like Barbara, I have a deep insecurity I have to wrestle with too to help me get on the stage.
Right.
And I prepare, and I always have that second guessing, that doubt thing going on. And so for me, that's the reality check.
Right.
Because no matter how high, Icarus, you go to the sun. Right? You said you preach, so. I feel like my self-doubt and the things that kind of like knock me out are just right around the corner. And I always have to be honest with myself. So I don't know what an outside perspective is.
Right.
I look at my other friends who are extremely accomplished and go, oh my gosh, one day I really hope, I'm always looking up the mountain, I'm not looking down.
Right. That's good.
So I have no idea if what people think or what. But I'd like to think that I'm doing something so different that there's really, it's like not everyone can sing like Barbara and imitate Barbara. I think maybe if the envy might come with, I don't know, maybe other people doing their musical projects and wanting to get further, and it's very hard. I mean, as a musician, I've had my own band, Melody and the Dramatics. I've done my own jazz shows. I've done everything. And going into Barbara, I knew that this project would launch me further.
Right.
I mean, for whatever it's not sad, it is what it is. Probably more than my own projects that are near and dear to my heart, just like Barbara.
Right. Have you ever met Barbara?
I have not.
Would you like to meet her someday?
Of course, and hopefully soon.
Yeah. I hope so too. I think it would be really great. I think it would be a great encounter.
I really hope that she would support me because
I'm sure she would.
Not because I'm trying to imitate her, and that's like all aside. And I'm actually a little like, oh my gosh, I'm imitating her. She's gonna watch me. I really dig deep into her repertoire, especially for the TV shows and specials going to Color Me Barbara, My Name is Barbara, and I really pay tribute and honor her work and what she has done for music and for women.
Oh yes.
And so I really take it from that standpoint, and I would really hope that that would be her takeaway was, wow, there's this artist out there who's really like listening to my music and really listening to my message and wants to bring that out into the world.
Sure.
And that's my, oh my gosh, that would be a dream.
Right.
Not just from an entertainment, of course, entertainment-wise, but just deeper.
A personal dream, yes.
A personal dream, yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, I don't know if you want to call it a mistake. Some people thought it was a mistake. Do you mix politics in sometimes like Barbara does?
I knew you were going to go there.
And they were like, I don't think Barbara said it.
Well, it's really interesting. I talked to okay, so this is about honesty. I don't even know who's going to see this thing. I don't know.
Everybody sees motivation.
Okay, good. I don't know. Well, no, actually, down in Orlando, I befriended another Barbra Streisand tribute who's fabulous, who's been doing a lot longer. And her boyfriend and I talked about that.
Sure.
And, he actually is the one who told me about it because as we are so divided that as a tribute, I purposely keep politics out of Barbara.
Smart. I think it's smart.
Because there's people maybe who aren't in line with me who love Barbara, and I'm trying to reach those people too.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I just feel like her music is so universal. Now, having said that, there are people who are of a certain party who will not hire Barbara for events, will not hire a Barbara tribute in their towns and in their communities because of what she represents. That is very sad for me as a tribute, but anything that Barbara does, or if you impersonate, that will impact your career directly because you represent that person, and they automatically think that your ideals and what you stand for align with that artist, even if they do or don't, but you are representing and you are the picture.
I know.
And so there are places that probably won't hire me because of that, but I keep politics out of it. And I really, now that you've said that, I would like to somehow bring that more. And I do that in my shows, especially when we go into somewhere, or there's a place for us.
Right. And the one coming up, where's it going to be again?
Oh, that's going to be at Bryant Lake Bowl. 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock doors.
In Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, in Uptown, Saturday the 29th, Sunday the 30th.
Right. And you know,
So-
I don't know if I can be there, but I can imagine maybe being there. And can we
Yeah.
sing a little bit of imagination? Just a little bit?
You know, that's so funny. I've never done this song ever, but we're going to try it because I love the song. Look at me, and we'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you want a real paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want, do it. Wanna
We can
change the world? There's nothing to it. Thank you. That was very
Yeah.
good.
Wow,
Good
thank
job.
you.
Good job.
Oh,
You have
okay.
a wonderful voice. So,
Thank you.
where do you see yourself going? Let's see, a year from now, 6 months from now, a year from now.
Great from now. I mean, it's great from now. Great question. Well, since I did the Orlando thing, I was looking at more national and international tributes.
Yes.
I don't think this is in 6 months or a year,
Right.
but definitely I want to keep. I have shows in Milwaukee and a wonderful agent, and I have another agent
Right.
in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I think
Sure.
they have a lot of supper clubs, and I really like the nostalgia, and I love that. So I'm looking for more places like that. And so in 6 months, in a year, moving more into the Midwest, and then moving out because I'd like to be national.
Right. Okay.
And
Well, I'm gonna say publicly, I've never done this before. I'm gonna send one of your tapes to WGN Radio because they
Okay.
know host. I go on there a lot, and I'm gonna recommend that they interview you and put you on some good spots because I love what you do, and you're
Thank
that
you.
good. You really are.
Thank
I've
you.
never done that the whole time I've done
Oh my
show.
gosh.
Never done that.
it's Christmas.
Yeah, 'cause most people don't share their connections, but to me it's really not about sharing connections. It's about, how can I say it, having all the right pieces fit together. I told my wife about it. I said, I'm interviewing this lady. I'm telling you, I could not stop listening to your songs. I'm like, I'm listening to Barbra, and I'm like, what's it all about? Alfie? And I'm trying to sing with you. I'm like, this girl. I'm like, you get it, girl.
Hey.
Hey, I mean, you're that good. So
Thank
as
you.
we end, give me 40 seconds of any song that you sang for Barbra that you just want to share with the audience as we close this
Okay.
down.
People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. We're children needing other children, and yet letting our grown-up pride hide all the need inside, acting more like children than children. Lovers are very special people. They're the luckiest people in the world, with one person.
One very
Special
special person,
a feeling deep in your soul, says you are half, now you're whole. No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people. Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Folks at home, this lady sings much better than I do.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, let's work
Great
together.
job.
I'll get you singing in no time.
Great job, great job. Thanks for coming on
Thank you so
Motivation.
much for having me.
Folks at home, you've been watching
Thank you.
Melody Mendis as Barbra.
Whoop, whoop.
And you're watching Motivation. Folks at home, and all that you do, I want you to stay fit, I want you to stay blessed, and I want to see you next time on Motivation. This lady is the bomb diddly.
Hey.
Thank you again. Wonderful, wonderful
Thank
job.
you.